So, love to welcome you guys to the Albuquerque International Balloon Museum and to the 2019 Hall of Fame inductions to our the two inductees that are coming in this year. A very exciting time for all of us. We have two worthy candidates. It's a very long process. Every year we go off of a nomination list as to who we are looking at. That's narrowed down, and there's a selection committee that's part museum and part the ballooning commission of the FAI. So the two people have gone through a lot of scrutiny and thought process, and we're so glad to have them here, and we have representation of both. I don't know if we have the FAI National Anthem, Marilee? Marilee?
Yep.
Oh, she's over here. I'm sorry, I was looking in the wrong area. If we could ever get everyone to just stand for a moment. We have the FAI flag right here. And go ahead. For those of you that don't know, the FAI is the Fédération Aéronautique Internationale. They're the body that oversees all aviation records and competitions on a world-class level. But a big part also is recognition of people who have done extraordinary things or won competitions or set records. And that's one of the beauties of this event here, is that we're actually recognizing people. Not for just an event, but for a lifetime of achievements, basically. We have with us some esteemed individuals sitting over here, who I'll ask a few of them to come up and speak. The first one is Mr. Mark Sullivan. He is actually the president of the FAI's Ballooning Commission. So there's several commissions under the FAI umbrella, and Mark is the president of the ballooning organization, which is a huge honor, and that we have a local pilot in that representation is wonderful. So I'll let Mark say a few words here.
Thank you, Troy. This is really a treat for me to be able to say a few words as the president of the FAI Ballooning Commission. Normally, like Troy said, we're dealing with world championship events, world air games, or Troy keeps us busy doing records. So that's mainly what we do. So this is a real treat to come and honor some of our really top-notch individuals who spent a lifetime getting to this position, and it is very complicated procedure to get here. So when you get here, you have a real honor, and I know there's a couple people here that are really probably looking forward to this. And I just want to say special thanks to the board of directors of the Anderson Abruzzo Museum for hosting the FAI Balloon Museum Hall of Fame. We appreciate it on the international level, and thank you, City of Albuquerque, for helping the museum keep all this going. So thank you very much.
And next to Mark, we have Greg Principato. Greg is the president and CEO of the National Aeronautic Association. So that's our governing body that oversees all the aviation sports within the United States. And also we're the largest member through that organization of the FAI. So Greg, thank you for coming from Washington, D.C., and appreciate you being here, getting the support on all levels from national to international here. Over here we have two lovely ladies. One is a brand new addition to the museum. She's our new museum manager, Nan Masland, and she just came on board right before Fiesta. I can't imagine any tougher time to come on board as the director of the museum, which is absolutely phenomenal. She'll be a great asset to this facility, and we're very happy to have her here. Next to her is Dr. Shel Sanchez, and Dr. Sanchez is in charge of the Cultural Services Department for the City of Albuquerque. What you're sitting in here is a City of Albuquerque museum. The City of Albuquerque is gung-ho on balloons and ballooning. This is a city park out here that everyone's going to be launching from tomorrow. But this beautiful building is actually a city property, and we're so fortunate to have the support of the city. We couldn't do it without them. And I was going to ask Dr. Sanchez if she would like to say a few words as well.
So you might have noticed that I was probably going to follow Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham. I can tell you I've had to do that twice before in my life. I'm really glad I don't have to do it today. She's a really powerful speaker and very energetic, and I'm just happy it's me. I mean, some of you might be disappointed, but I'm happy just to be up here and represent Mayor Tim Keller and the city of Albuquerque. Mayor Keller couldn't be here today, but I can assure you he's going to be around all week. He's a huge fan of Balloon Fiesta. He, like me, grew up chasing balloons, sometimes in trucks, but more often on bicycles down the street. So I know that we're all really excited to be here. And I just wanted to take a moment, because I'm not exactly sure who's in the audience. So if you are from Albuquerque, can you just raise your hand, make some noise, all right? If you're from someplace in the United States that's not Albuquerque, can you raise your hand? Oh, nice. If you are from a place that is not the United States, can you raise your hand? Okay, very nice. All right. That's fabulous. And just one more trick question. If you love Balloon Fiesta, could you raise your hand? All right, this is the right place. I am really excited about Balloon Fiesta, and I'm also really excited to be here. I was here last year. I kind of snuck into the back at the last minute. But it's a real privilege for the Balloon Museum here in Albuquerque to host the FIA Hall of Fame. It means a lot to us because ballooning means a lot to our city, it means a lot to our state, and the Balloon Museum has become a really, really important part of cultural services and a really important part and a growing important part of our city's cultural landscape. So to have this very prestigious group of stories and people's accomplishments and your legacies that are housed here, that's very important to all of us. So thank you for that. Thank you for making the Balloon Museum your home. And thank you for coming to visit every October, because as you all know, October is the best time to be in New Mexico, not just because of Balloon Fiesta, but also because of the weather. So welcome. And I see we had our one rain shower. It's here, it's gone, it's done. Don't you worry, it's going to be a great week. And I hope you will meet Nan Maslin. She's our new Balloon Museum director. She's going to be around all week. Apparently, she's just brought a cot in, so you can see her anytime you want to come in. And finally, I want to say congratulations to this year's awardees. Your legacy of achievement really inspires, and by leaving your stories with us, we can share those stories with lots of children, lots of visitors from around the world every year. And we're very honored, and we take this responsibility very seriously to share these stories and to share your legacy and inspire the next group of students, of balloonists, of explorers, and record setters in whatever field. So thank you so much.
We also have a few other people I'd like to recognize in the audience. Somewhere back here we have Lori McGovern, there's Lori, she's in the very back. And Lori is in charge of our foundation for the Balloon Museum. This is actually a contract that we have in between the foundation and the Ballooning Commission, and they've done a tremendous job over the years of preserving this and putting on these events. However, we kind of struggled this year with the foundation on that end of it, on trying to put this together, and I think we've done a great job in putting this event together. But I would like to take just a moment of silence for the person who really was the driving force behind putting this together year in and year out, and that was Jody Baugh. We just lost Jody in the last year, and she was the one who kept it all together, knew what needed to be done, the timelines. Mark and I have had several conversations, Lori, and trying to figure out how to do this in the right way. And I think we've put it together, but it would have been a heck of a lot easier had Jody been here. So if we could just have just a second of silence for Jody, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. Jody was, she was a big supporter of ballooning for a long time, whether it was the Fiesta or the museum, and the Hall of Fame was definitely something that was near and dear to her heart, so I know she's here with us. I do have one other person I know in the audience. I've got Andy Barrett back here. Andy was also in the audience, and he is our U.S. delegate to the Ballooning Commission at the FAI level, so thank you, Andy, for coming as well. I'm sure that I've missed some people. There's a lot of important people in the audience, but it's time that we start to talk about the other people that are here and that we're here to honor. The first one that we have is Norman Pritchard, who was a very active balloonist for a long time in the UK. He was instrumental in keeping track of a lot of the history and records and doing the medals program for the British balloonists. And you need to have those sort of people in order to make these things work. The pilots can go out and do whatever. You can have crew that help them, but the people that keep track and actually record this for history are so important to our sport. And Norman was one of the best at that. We have a few people here that would like to speak on behalf of Norman and the induction into the Hall of Fame. Because he had passed in 2004. So unfortunately, he's not here to accept the award himself. But right here I have Dave Baker from the UK, and also Norman's son, Jeremy, and Norman's grandson, Sullivan. So if you gentlemen want to come up, and I'll let you tell some stories and relive the great history that Norman gave to all of us.
Well, good afternoon. My father would have been so humble. He didn't ever seek recognition. He just loved ballooning. It was just a sport that he took up as part of a group at work who just decided they want to have more fun in life, and ballooning looked like it may well be a lot of fun, and it turned out to be a lot more fun than what he ever imagined. I'd really like to thank Marilee Nason for inviting Solomon and I here. And then John Baker, I think is, you might know better, is he the curator?
That's right.
Yeah, of the British Balloon Museum. As they probably nominated my father. And I'd then like to thank all the officials here who make that decision amongst however many people get nominated to have chosen him. And as never having been a competitive pilot and never as a pilot winning anything, it seems incredible that this honour has been bestowed upon him. I can remember back, I was leaving school, it was between school and university, I think, that my father first got a balloon, or 5 of them got a balloon, they shared it. So I can remember those early days of everybody learning how to fly a balloon, what it was to crew, what it was to chase, what it was to be the Cremation Charlie, as I was often nominated for that job, which was quite... For those who don't know, if I don't know whether you do, a Cremation Charlie is just the guy who holds the mouth of the balloon open. Before days when we inflated them with fans. So you'd waft some air in, and then you stand there, leaning back as far as you can, holding it open while someone's blowing very hot gas at you, which... I now live in Australia, as you may have recognised from my accent, but over in England, the winds are a lot more variable and marginal for flying, but if you don't go when it's marginal, you don't fly often enough, so it was often flying in marginal conditions. But yeah, it was a fantastic sport. But then I went to uni, didn't get too many opportunities to go with my father ballooning. I then emigrated to Australia and raised a family there. But my father visited us often because there's a lot of balloon meets in Australia, and he got to meet lots of other balloonists there and made lots of friends there. He actually visited here on many occasions as well, as he was here in a more official capacity as well. But I have 4 children, and they all learned what ballooning was from before they were even old enough to look over the top of a basket. So they're all very lucky, I feel, to have been introduced to such a wonderful and exciting sport. Anyway, thank you all, everybody. Thank you.
So this to me is just a massive wow, because I was probably 19 before I realised that most people don't go hot air ballooning, because I just grew up with it. So to have something as massive as this, to me, is just extraordinary, because it was just such a normal part of my childhood. My grandpa and his wife, my grandma, came over to Australia once every couple of years, and we'd go down to Leeton with them for a couple of weeks, and I'd go down, and if I couldn't get into the balloon with the people I was with, I just went and jumped in somebody else's balloon because I just wanted to go up in the sky. And I think that's one of the best things about ballooning, is the family environment, knowing that even though I just ditched my parents and they didn't have any idea where I went, they knew that I was with another ballooning family and that I was going to be fine. And having my grandpa give that to me, and then for him to get recognised like this, is a massive thing for me, because it was just a part of my relationship with him. It was my relationship with him was ballooning, because most of the time when he came over, that's what we did. We went ballooning. And I can't thank anybody enough for nominating him, and then everybody that's selecting him as well. And for me to get the opportunity to come here and stand in front of all of these people who understand how big an honour this is really special for me. So thank you very much.
Hello there. I'm here on behalf of John Baker, who unfortunately couldn't come, who was Norman's sort of right-hand man in the setting up of the Balloon Museum and Library in the UK. I first met Norman in the early 80s when I was crewing for Twillies, and he was also doing the same. One way to describe him, he was a true English gentleman, very, very quietly spoken. I'd never heard anybody say a bad word about him, and a real honour to have known him all these years. Yes, he was he started off organising observing, and he was sort of chief observer for many world championships, and he used to go to Saga, and he was, and also some record breaking attempts. He was the sort of chief observer for that. He then, with John, set up the British Balloon Museum and Library. He's written 2 or 3 books about the history of ballooning, not just in Britain, but all over the world, how it all started. He certainly was a real knowledge of ballooning. And I haven't prepared anything because I didn't realise I was talking, but just to say, it was a real privilege to have known him, and he fully deserves this accolade. Thank you.
If you gentlemen will stay for just one moment. Sure. So with induction into the Hall of Fame, which we have a beautiful hall back here, and I hope you all have the time to go and observe it, we also give a Nambe plate, which is just near Santa Fe, where this is actually engraved. And there's also a medal that we give to everyone for induction into the Hall of Fame. It is a rarity. There's still less than 50 people in the Hall of Fame, and that goes all the way back to the Montgolfier brothers. So you should be very proud of your family and your cohort. So thank you so much, gentlemen. And thank you so much. So the next inductee, and we do try to pick someone posthumously and a living inductee, because so many people have passed that deserve the recognition they may not have gotten in their lifetime, but this sets it for eternity that they'll be in the Hall of Fame here. So we're very happy that we got Norman into this, but I also believe that it's very nice to get somebody here that's actually going to be present and living and enjoying this in their lifetime. And this person has spent a lifetime of innovating and manufacturing and doing things that have touched the entire world of ballooning, and I mean around the world. He's worked with several manufacturers, done so much for balloons, and raised the level of expertise in so many areas that is amazing. I remember having a Banano quick release, and probably even closer to my heart is I'm wearing a tie from the Transatlantic Challenge back in 1992, and he built the burners that were on all those balloons. So thank you. I thought about you every day for a week. I appreciate how well your burners work, so thank you. But with that, we have a couple of people that have worked closely with Paulo and would like to come up and say a few words as well. Joseph Yaro, he's the pilot and main shareholder for Ultra Magic Balloons, so he came all the way from Spain for this. And we also have Bert Pedelt out of Pennsylvania, who owns Best Aviation and has been a part of many, many record-setting events, as well as things that I've done, and appreciate Bert being here as well. So I'm going to let these two gentlemen speak on behalf of Paulo and all that he's done and for the sport. Thanks. Come on up.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honor for me to say some words to make know a little bit better Mr. Paolo Bonanno. I know him since more than 30 years when we met in World and European Championships, participating both. No? At that time, he was an exceptional cooperator of Cameron Balloons, and we were talking several times to cooperate with Ultramagic, as we were seeing he was ahead of other burner designers. No? We were observing his passion for ballooning, and especially for burners, and admiring his intellectual capacity to advance in improvements. One day, more than 10 years ago, he called us and we agreed it was the right moment to start this cooperation. This cooperation is continuing now, and we are very proud. We both feel comfortable in a natural spirit, interchanging ideas and proposals to improve burners so pilots can fly more comfortably and safe. This is always an issue because we all know that burners is one of the parts more critical in the balloon, so he's helping on safety. Being from Italy also is well known that great industrial designers for cars or other equipments they have, so naturally Paolo is a very fine designer, also taking care of the appearance to look nice and with easy handling. So we appreciate this. No? Paolo cannot be so active if he has no challenge. No? And for sure, we ask him continuously to solve challenges. At home, he can get up at midnight, go to his workshop just in front and have a new idea to solve a challenge, and he will not stop until he has tested it. And it's, well, we all know that not always come at the first test. So he will persevere until this challenge is solved. This could not be done also without the help of Nicole. I am sure of that. She has been always at the side, helping and having also the patience to listen about burner issues or reactions of many pilots that go to visit at the mecca of the burners, that is their home. So thank you, Nicole. If you ever go to Mondovi and visit his workshop, you will see a lot of artifacts of different projects he's involved or are discarded before being industrialized. He'll explain you passionately each of them as if it was the first time from when he was a child. No? Paolo comes to the factory every 3 or 4 months and stays for a week to check all is done according to his design and manufacturing preparation. No? It's an audit all workers at the factory appreciate because he knows how to explain and the reason why is done every detail. When possible, Nicole also comes and they stay in one of our apartments in town, so he has not access to work for some hours. He rests then a little bit more than at home. No? Sometimes when we meet, I have to tell him at lunch or dinner, please stay 10 minutes without talking about burners. Really difficult, but he accepts the challenge and then we can talk on other issues, balloon competitions or festivals, or we have gone both or any other study that, but it's not easy. Yeah. Now we meet here for a very merited inclusion of Paolo Bonanno in the Hall of Fame of Albuquerque Balloon Museum, and we appreciate sincerely this inclusion, that all balloonists will recognize, feeling as part of us is also there. No? So thank you for this distinguished honor to Mr. Paolo Bonanno that make feel proud the balloon community. Thank you for everybody for your attention also.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say I'm I feel very privileged to come up and say a few words for you, Paulo. The first time that I met Paulo, we were involved in Steve Fawcett's Around the World flight, and we were in Bristol, England, for one of Steve's test inflations. And after the inflation, we came back to the factory, and Jim Howard said that in conversation that Paolo Bonanno was coming, and to the factory. He was going to be doing some work on some burners and such. And I was very, very excited because I knew everything about Paolo. At the time, the black valves on the Cameron burners what Paolo did with those burner valves was amazing when you consider what we were flying with off-the-shelf valves and that kind of thing. And when that valve was introduced, I remember looking at that and just being amazed at the person that came up with the idea, you know, and very simple, 2 O-rings and things like that. And if you have an O-ring leak, the liquid goes up into the burner and not down on your hand, which would then catch on fire. So I was very impressed with all of that. And not only that, with that valve, it was beautiful. And I admire, that's what I admire most with someone that designs and builds things, is they can come up with a good design, but it's not finished there. It has to look good as well. And Paulo is very good at that. The finished product is absolutely beautiful. And so he came, and I met him, and quickly realized that Paulo didn't speak English, and I spoke no Italian. And he had this new burner that he had with him, and he called it the Blue Burner, which was the predecessor, I suppose, to the Scirocco burner. And he took us out in the back of the factory in Bristol and was demonstrating this burner to us. And was just amazed at this quiet burner, yet it was quiet, but it had no radiant heat. And usually, if the burner is quiet, what goes along with the quiet burner is radiant heat. And so I was very impressed with that and had so many questions for him. And we went out to dinner, and Nikki was our translator at the time. Nikki was his girlfriend, and she spoke a little English. And Paulo was so impatient because he wanted to understand what I was saying, and he kept shaking Nikki and, what is he saying? And I remember that. But what I also remember is it was the first time that I realized that if two people are very passionate with what they really love, and I also am a very passionate person when it comes to building balloons, and ballooning in general. And I realized we didn't speak understand the language, but we understood each other. And so we fast forward years later. Paulo comes to my shop a few years ago, and he walks into the shop, and the first words out of his mouth is, "I can speak English." So think about this. How many of us as adults are so passionate about what you like that you are willing to take the time to learn another language so you can share your passion with other people? So that opened the door for so many more questions. And then Joni and I, my wife Joni and I, went to Mondevi in Italy and spent time with Paulo and Nikki, and I spent a tremendous amount of time in his workshop. And then I realized something again. Paulo, when we had dinner, he didn't he spoke English fairly well, but he didn't quite understand the conversations, and he was very quiet. But when Paulo and I would go out into his workshop, it was like we understood each other, and the words flowed in his workshop. I think that's just amazing. We would spend hours in his workshop until the early wee hours of the night into the morning talking. We'd come out of the workshop and we didn't talk much. But it was quite a pleasure for me. And I respect the beautiful mind that Paulo has, and admire everything that he has done for the ballooning community. And it, like Troy said, it has been a lot. He's contributed so much to the safety of our sport. Next to the parachute valve, I would have to say Paulo's is right up there with his burner design, and his contributions are incredible. So his English is still, it is okay, and I'm sure that Paulo will be a little nervous coming up here. So I ask that everyone in the audience close your eyes and think of Paulo and be in Paulo's workshop. And perhaps Paulo can picture being in the workshop as well, and I think everyone in this audience will understand Paulo.
So Paulo, it's your mic. You come up and you speak however you'd like.
I prefer make girl.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for Josep Maria, for Bert, for the introduction. Okay, very, very strong introduction. Who know me know that my English is a disaster. Sorry in advance Sorry in advance. I hope they don't make many mistakes, no? Okay? All right, now the problem is I learned the school. Attention, eh? Mi sono perso. Sì, ok. Well, many thanks everybody. No, sorry. For me, it's impossible. I prefer make burner than speak in front of many people. My English is good to speak in front of one guy. But in front of the many people, for me, is not possible. No. Anche se I will make a prepare all.
Problem, solution.
No, allora, I make only one. Sì. Allora, it's necessary I make thank you very much for the Paolo Gioni, che is the Italian delegate at the FAA, che have make a proposal for my name in diploma Montgolfier many years ago, and for this recognition today. Okay. I also thanks all for the member of the FAA and the CIA delegate and the selection committee, because finding my name near Umberto Nobile and Vincenzo Lunardi and all those are already in the Hall of Fame, all the people who is in the Hall of Fame, is a truly incredible honor for me. It's impossible. My passion for and my hard work have brought me here. What? Sorry. Sì, ma non understand quello che dico. And I hope to continue for years to propose my ideas, my technology to serve the aerostatic world. So my target is continuous for my program is for next 30 years. I continue to fly because I like a lot to fly. And believe me, it's all that together that does not make me feel my 75 years. So for me, the 75 years is not heavy because my pleasure to work in this direction, to solving the problem for the balloon, for make improvement or pleasure to fly, because I suppose that for the burner, for many people, the burner is all make a flame stop, no? But it's possible to make one comparison with a car. You take one car, 30 years old, you drive, you move, you take another one now, the pleasure to drive is different. And for the burner, is the same possibility. The work in direction for make one better flame, better combustion, low level noisy, and important increase the reaction of the balloon. And this is possible. It's only question technology of combustion. My work is in this direction. I have many targets that I hope in future I possible put at disposition of the pilot. Okay? Now this is out of the program. Ok, Okay, many thanks for everybody. For me, it's a big pleasure, my big pleasure, to be member of this big family. The balloon family is fantastic. It's the moment I enter in the world of ballooning, I have changed my life. My horizon is the world. I have a friend in all the part of the world, and I'm very happy with this. Okay? Now, cosa c'è da dire? Ah. No, no, I have a speaker, is right, I prefer make a burner que speech here. This is clear, because my English is a disaster. I have an impression many times, impression that I'm a monkey in front of the... Okay, Nikki, come. Come. You make adjustment of the problem.
But thank you, everybody. And it's true, like Joseph Maria said, that's a great cooperation now for Paulo. We found a family in Spain, and we found many families. I say many members of my ballooning family are our ballooning family. And it's hard to be his wife because of you. Because
Attention. Normally, in the moment I have one hard problem, very strong problem, I am a grumpy bear.
no, when he's working he forgets to drink, he forgets to eat. He don't forget to smoke his famous pipe. Sometimes I'm jealous about that pipe because he always have a hand for that pipe, but not always for me. No, waking up in the night because he couldn't sleep because many things he has to resolve or to do more. I'm glad now, it's now 17 years, we have the house and the workshop really all together. So that's how we are still together, I think. Joking. So I can give him an ice cream sometime to have a little bit rest, but no way. I can call him for dinner, he will come 2 hours later, and it's really, I think people don't know that. People who come to visit us start to understand a little bit. Someone who visited us one day said, you can take out Paulo of the workshop, but you can't take the workshop out of Paulo. So I have to find festival or thing where we are invited to take him out of the workshop and have him a little bit for me.
For all the friends, my workshop, in the moment I enter in my workshop in the morning, I switch on the coffee machine. The coffee machine is the best coffee in this area, okay? For the friend, okay, if you work in this road, you make a deviation for my workshop. I make a stop, drink a coffee, blah, 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 5 minutes, after you return your road.
Impossible 5 minutes, believe me, if possible. So thank you for, it's now 25 years I discovered that world, and thank you for your love.
Congratulations, Paulo. Wonderful job. And everybody understood you completely. There you go, sir.
Wow.
And there you are, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We got lots of people that want to see this.
took 5 minutes and fixed my burner today.
If you have any burner problems this week,
In all competition, I am in competition.
Yes.
Normally is one burner problem. Allora, in the competition, I have additional work.
yes, I'm sure many, many people looking for you. So thank you, Paulo, very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have some ladies that are starting to wander around and pass out some champagne to everyone. I would like to thank Vara. They're a local winery just down the road here. While you're in Albuquerque, if you'd go and visit them, I think you'll enjoy their wine. They're just right down the street. It's actually a cava, a sparkling wine, which works out well with the Spanish folks as well. So once everyone gets something, we'll have a little toast for. I think. Does everyone have something to drink there? Does everyone have something to drink? Are we all good? All right. Well, thank you all so much for attending. We've got a full house here because we had two very inspiring nominees and that turned into inductees here. Norman and Paulo, very well deserved. You can see by the room here, you've inspired many generations of balloonists already. And by being in the Hall of Fame, you will inspire many more that don't even know they want to be balloonists yet. So thank you so much for your work ethic, for your guidance in ballooning. You've made it a safer sport. Norman's made it a memorable sport. And without you, the story wouldn't continue. So thank you so much for all of your time, and congratulations on being in the Hall of Fame. You both deserve it. Thank you. Cheers. Cheers. Salute.